advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
I got my backbone back. You stole it, I took it back. I got my backbone back. I'm lifted up. I got my backbone back. You stole it, I took it back. I got my backbone back. I'm lifted up. Well, I'm lifted up. I'm lifted up. I'm lifted
Welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermson, and I am your host. We are glad to have you here today. We have a full house today with our trustees from the Washoe County School Board, 3, and we're going to get right into our discussion because we don't want to waste any time. When you got 3 people here, you got a lot to say, and we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to speak. So let's start off with Colleen Westlake. Colleen, I'd like you to introduce yourself, the district you represent, and really give a good description of why you chose to run and to represent your district, and what one good goal that you hope to achieve during your tenure.
Colleen Westlake for Washoe County School District, District B, which is East Sparks and Sun Valley. And I chose to run because I felt it was time for me to serve back and to give something back to my community. I am a 5th-generation Nevadan, which doesn't necessarily qualify me to be a trustee, but I know this area. I've been here a long time, and I really want to help children. I want to help our schools. I want to help our teachers and our administrators. I would really like to achieve getting our kids in the safest environment that we possibly can attain. And it might take some hit and misses, but I think we can absolutely ensure that our kids have a safe school experience. And in that respect, I really think we're going to see improvement in kids' grades if we can have a safe environment.
Perfect. All right. And next we have Trustee Mayberry. Welcome to What's the Story? Your first time here with me.
Well, thanks, Janice. I had an opportunity to be on Shanimal's show some time ago. But my name's Adam Mayberry. I am also a trustee, privileged to serve alongside Joe and Colleen. The district I represent is one of the 2 at-large districts. It's District F. And I like to think it's the fantastic district because it's so large. But most folks don't realize you're actually represented by 2 school trustees. You have an at-large trustee, and then you have a district trustee, if you will. So my district is essentially half of Washoe County. And it's essentially everything on the east side. That would be east of 580, US 395, far south as South Reno, Geiger Grade, north all the way up to Gerlach. All of the city of Sparks, Hidden Valley, Donner Springs, Demonte Ranch, Double Diamond, Spanish Springs. It's a significant area. And my focus really has been on improving academic performance for our students. I'm proud to say that I'm a dad of 2 beautiful daughters that are in high school. So I'm a parent of students that we serve. And to improve academic performance means a lot of things. It means ensuring that we have enough teachers and we need to pay them more. So that's been one of my priorities. Additionally, providing a safe and secure environment is critically important, particularly given the environment we live in with what we've seen with the acts of violence in schools. That keeps me up at nights. And certainly our special education population is extremely important to me, making sure that they get the resources that they need because we are underfunded across the board when it comes to serving our kids with special needs. But I was appointed to the role in November of 21 and had a few months to decide if this was something I wanted to really be a part of permanently. And I did run for office, was very successful with more than 69% of the vote in the general election. And it's a real privilege for me to serve.
Thank you very much. And now, Mr. Joseph Rodriguez. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. And Joe, please. Last time I was called Joseph, I was in trouble for my mom. I represent District C, so it's actually pretty diverse. I got the North Valleys area. I got the Cold Springs, obviously North Valleys, Spanish Springs, Wingfield, and I go out to Pyramid Lake and Gerlach as well. So there's quite a bit of diversity around there. Colleen's my neighbor to the south with so I have the rest of Sparks, and Adam does overlap both our districts. So one of the reasons why I ran, aside from the glorious salary that we receive, which is a joke, just for the record, 9,000 a year.
Yes, I did.
Just like Adam, I have kids in a school district. So I have a daughter that's in elementary school. I have a son that's in middle school, and I have one that's in high school. So pretty invested. I want to see them succeed. Obviously, not just them, but my neighbors. I have a full-time career. I'm not a career politician. I work in public safety as my other daytime job, and just kind of that guy next door, the neighbor that just wants to see what's best for our kids, be the voice for the average, the family member. So I'll keep it short because I know you got other questions.
Oh no, that's fine. And your goal for
so many. Just today, I was visiting. I visited several schools in North Valleys, and every time I'm out there, I'm reminded that these, I hear that North Valleys feels ignored or missed a lot of times, and I'm just continue to advocate for them, working with our other electeds to look at building new schools out there. Stead Elementary it was there when Stead Air Force was an Air Force Base. They could collect Social Security right now if there was any left.
And of the three of you that are here, you've served the longest. How long have you been on the Board of Trustees?
About almost 2 years now.
Right.
So
none of you are long term. You haven't been doing this for a really long time.
I'm the baby.
You're the newbie,
Yeah.
yes. And you're fairly new because of the fact that you took over.
Yeah, I think I followed Joe by about 6 months,
Yeah.
maybe
Right.
5 or 6 months.
Yeah, he missed all the fun stuff.
Yeah. We're going to talk about what your role is as a trustee, discuss a little bit about social justice because that's a big hot topic and we want to make sure we address it, and some other things, but we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
We'll be back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 775-356-1004 or go to lrpnv.com. With a great selection of new and used books, you can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Book Hound radio show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man in the Map, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more
pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. That's 800-432-8150.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Wake up, the sun below. Got another road to sow. Let the fire feel the hope swelling up from the depths of my soul.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900 extension 2. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. I'm your host. And I did not mention my two co-hosts, Ed Knoll and Doug Ashby, who are also here. And I'm kind of keeping them quiet right now because I'm asking questions.
We're in environment.
Yeah. District F and District C, and we have Westlake, Mayberry, and Rodriguez, just so that I keep that in order there. And we're going to ask just a few questions about, right now I want to talk about what a trustee does. What is your role? Before I start that, I want to tell you that, well, actually, no, I want to ask you first, what is the role of a trustee for the school district? Anyone?
I'd be more than happy to take that.
Right.
It's pretty much just like any other form of government. You got city council, you got county commissioners, you got legislators, you got Congress. We are the legislative body. So as one single trustee, we really have no authority or power. It's as a board where our authority comes from. So just kind of like you have a city manager or a county manager, we have our superintendent. So basically we're entrusted, we're voted upon, and we're kind of more or less the safeguards or the representatives of the community. And we give our guidance to the superintendent. So technically we really have one employee, and that's our superintendent. So our job is just to advocate and represent our districts as best as we can.
So you supervise the superintendent? Is that what you're saying?
That's our employee.
Okay. Description when you go in? Do they kind of tell you, hey, this is your job? Right? Does anybody do that?
Well, I mean, more like the thing when I came on, when I was appointed, was there like, hey, here's a job and here's your employee evaluation, anything like that? Was there anything, if that's where you're getting at?
Well, were you given one?
Well, state government has like parliamentarians and stuff.
Right.
Do they offer anyone
No.
to you like that?
Well, for lack of better words, at the time, Angie Taylor, who was the board president, she was kind of my go-to. She was the most senior trustee. We did have quite a bit of onboarding as far as like, here's all the policy, which there's only a couple of them. No, it's like the size of a New York phone book. Yeah, they don't even have phone books anymore. I don't know, but
Nobody's going to know what that is.
Trustee Rodriguez said, certainly hiring the superintendent is probably the most important role of a trustee and ensuring that that person is meeting the goals and objectives. But, during our meetings, if you watch our meetings, there's also a lot of contracts that we approve. Another major part of our role is approving the annual budget. And, the school district has about $1 billion budget. break that in half. About half of it's capital. The other half is kind of the general fund piece that pays for salaries and benefits, which is really the largest part of our general fund budget. But we approve contracts. There are some academic curriculum pieces that we approve, we review. Textbooks, whatever the case may be. So when I description that you receive.
Okay.
And it is laid out in NRS what the role of a school board trustee is.
Okay, and so you got the same thing, Colleen, because you guys are the newest. So
Yes.
You've been around a while.
One of the first things that I did when Janice told us that you were going to be here is I go to your website and I'm interested in what your mission statement is. Well, I couldn't find anything that was under that category. However, I did find something that I think fits very, very well. And any question that I have is going to stem from that statement. Basically, I'll read it. Welcome to the Washoe County School District. The Washoe County School District is focused on creating an educational system where all students achieve academic success, develop personal and civic responsibility, and achieve career and college readiness for the 21st century. And I like that. I mean, how could you fault it, right? Some of the questions that I have stem just absolutely specifically to this. And as we, as we're talking, I'll try to interject some because some of these are near and dear to my heart. I spent most of my career as a firefighter down in LA, but I was educated. I got my degree in teaching, industrial arts teaching. That is where my heart is. And I see, well, I guess I should ask the question first. Do you have an industrial arts program so when your kids graduate, they can go to a plumber and say, look, this is what I know, or electrician or something? Or are you like most districts that's just honorable mention? That's for somebody else. We don't do that.
No.
I would definitely say it sounds like what you're referring to is our STEM and STEAM programs. So that's our science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, or not mathematics, mechanics.
Is it mechanics?
Different relationships with our community, because one thing is that we do is look at, like, okay, for career day. I mean, I had this today where I was visiting North Valley's high school and they have a culinary program. So I mean, they got kids in there actually, and this isn't like home ec, this is like culinary arts. So short answer is yes.
Well, does it prepare kids to go out and be employable?
Absolutely. Because one thing that we do team up with our trades, our local trades. So we'll have plumbers and pipe fitters come out and visit our schools. And they'll talk to them like, hey, you know what? You can look at enrolling into our program. You can earn a degree while working and getting a salary and learning. And we have local units come in.
Because to me, that'll grab kids. Every kid is not going to go on to college. And that's some.
Little bit.
Because and another thing is on the diploma. So when they do a program such as that STEM or STEAM program, they actually get an honor. It's on their diploma. They actually have, it's a special little good job, and you complete X amount of credits in that program.
Okay, so to off air, we were talking to you guys, and we talked about the fact that the elephant in the room, right? Nevada schools are last on the charts. We're last. We've been last for a while. So you guys obviously can't fix all the problems. However, one of the things that happened in 2021, I believe it was, is when and I'm looking for my note as to what happened in that time. One of the things that happened was a survey went out to the parents and to all the different parties that are involved with the kids, and said, we want to do this restorative justice program. We want to incorporate this as part of the school. And in 2021, and again, I know you weren't even there and you were probably just starting, that came back 83.7% of the people that responded to that, which was about 1,600 people. And I don't know what that equates to in, real numbers as far as, because we all have equivalents, right? One letter is equal to 100 people or something like that. So you can do that math. But it said that 83.7% were opposed to it. So I know that since then that's all been incorporated. So something happened between 2021 and 2023 to where this became a part of the programming. How did they win that over to these people? Because they were parents, they were part of the educators, the teachers that really objected to that. So have you got any idea? And Joe, I think I'm going to kind of lean toward you because you've been there the longest. Do you have any idea how that occurred?
So, and I guess I kind of want to clarify. So things like critical race theory means different things to different people. So restorative justice or social justice, I guess, like, how are you viewing that? Like, what does that mean to?
Well,
disciplinary
aspect.
Yeah, so
yes, definitely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because they have to be in that right frame of mind. I mean, it's great. We can be, for kids that have a standard that allows them to focus, to come into class, that they do the attendance, and we can talk about attendance too. Well, that's fine. Those kids are going to go to the STEM or STEAM classes. They're going to benefit. But the ones that either aren't in attendance as frequently as they should be for whatever reason, whether it's illness or parental problems or, who knows, right? Maybe they're homeless. I mean, there's lots of issues, and we have all of them in one.
Now, there's got to be a fair balance. I mean, obviously, students and staff safety and security is definitely a priority. However, again, kind of, I guess, as a quote unquote more veteran trustee here by 6 months. I mean, just going out there, having town halls, going out there, meeting with PTA groups or schools that don't have them. And why? And some of these kids are acting out.
Right.
Well, you got to take that in perspective. Is mom working 3 jobs? Is dad in jail?
Exactly.
Or is, did they just witness their parents have a domestic, incident where dad was taken away by the police? So when that kid comes home with 3 hours of sleep, if that kid slept at all and has an outburst, to a certain degree, we have to recognize that. And we should give that kid, because every kid has a right to public education. And that means that the district meets that child on that level, for half a day. Is that not okay?
Well,
And is that what's being viewed as restorative justice? If that's what that is, in an instance like that, which does happen throughout our district, I do support it.
Stretch.
Okay. So I guess what I would say to you is, and I'm pulling this, I'm going to tell you my source is weareteachers.com. And they talked about some restorative justice. And they were very much in favor. Okay. They were very positive about it. But then one of the questions was, what are the drawbacks of restorative justice in schools? Because they were looking at a broad view of this from the standpoint of incorporating this into your school. And what they stated is, for restorative justice to work, it requires engagement from all involved parties. If the offender isn't willing to take responsibility, make meaningful restitution, the program can't help. Schools using the system find they still need traditional disciplinary actions available for circumstances like this. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger. No finger pricks. convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. 800-432-8150. That's 800-432-8150.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi. Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson, and we are here with the three of the trustees from Washoe County School District who have been sharing their perspective on how they can help their districts and answering some of the questions that we have about restorative justice, disciplining children. That's kind of where we left off. And I read a little from weareteachers.com. If you search for restorative justice, you'll find the question, what are the drawbacks of restorative justice? Which was in a nutshell, if you can't just throw in the program, you've got to incorporate, maybe in stages, the disciplining, changing the discipline. And as a parent, I mean, that's when your children are born, my perception of it is they're kind of uncivilized, right? So you got to get them are. And this is kind of no different. And if the parents aren't doing the job at home and then they come to school and they're throwing themselves around the room and you can't do anything about it, obviously that's going to be a problem. Adam, I can see you're itching to say something, so please share with us. This is Trustee Adam Mayberry.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and if we could, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we could clarify, and I did want to say this, was that there is a statute, Nevada statute, on what we, frankly, our hands are tied in a lot of ways. And that's something that we are currently advocating to our legislators, raising awareness there that, look, there's not a lot that we can do. And in the headlines, there has been here in Nevada, and unfortunately, there's a horrible incident which happened in Clark County, which I would just simply say that where a staff member was sexually assaulted by a student. So obviously, there's a time and a place that you got to protect our staff. And I mean, I cannot think of a better instance for expulsion there. At a minimum of criminal charges and things like that. But our hands are tied, and we're raising awareness that districts, what can we do? Because we're being tied by statute. So sorry, Adam.
The reality is the students of color were being disproportionately impacted by discipline, and so that was the intent. So it was a good intent, but clearly it's not working.
It backfired.
And if you look at that manual, there's three key what we call the big three.
Right.
There's assaulting students, or correction, assaulting a staff person. There is bringing a weapon to school. A weapon is can be a firearm, it could be a knife, and then there's distribution of drugs. If you bring a weapon to school under the current law, it's an automatic suspension. The other two do have some restorative and progressive discipline pieces to them.
So from your observation in your district, has that been, because we know it's happening, right? Has there been follow through from the administration of your schools that if students bring in the weapons that they are being expelled?
Absolutely. Though absolutely, and we had the police chief at a school board meeting recently to I think lay out some statistics on the number of weapons that have been confiscated, and I'm not aware of any student that hasn't been suspended as a result of bringing a weapon to school.
Do you feel like the time period that they're being suspended is sufficient, and the follow through, not only the suspension, because that's not good enough, really. I mean, there has to be some follow through with how do we fix this, right? I mean, just saying don't bring a weapon, that's useless.
The legal system. I mean, we could look at talking to the superintendent, police chief, like, hey, you know what, we want to arrest every kid that X, Y, and Z. You know, gang colors to school, what have you. Okay, they go to Jed Emmons. Then what? They're probably out of Jed Emmons before school's out. You know, and then the prosecutor is actually prosecuting for these charges. So, I mean, it's not just on us as a school district.
I agree with you on that.
And I see this working full-time in law enforcement. I've seen arsonists that have confessed to crimes, and they go through a deferment program. You know, I mean, so it's something that we're seeing in a society.
And we also have, you know, students with special needs that violate some of these policies, and oftentimes their discipline is less, and there's a process that has to be done to ensure that their disability didn't cause the problem, if you will. You know,
so if I'm understanding correctly, the way that this program came into effect was through the legislature.
Through statute.
Through statute.
Yeah, 2019.
Okay. So you as trustees have no power to do anything other than to petition to the legislature.
And we are aggressively lobbying, and you know, our teachers tell with the assaults and the abuse. I talked to a teacher today at a high school, a special needs teacher, and he told me, look, I get hit all the time, but his students typically have, you know, severe disabilities, and he hasn't been hurt by it, but certainly he recognizes when that's going to cross the line. But yeah, it's a significant problem that we're addressing. And it's also a difficult problem. But at the end of the day, as Trustee Rodriguez stated, I mean, our hands are tied. And in Nevada, the state legislature creates local government, cities, counties, fire protection districts, school districts. What the state creates, they can take away. So even at the state and county level, they're often, their hands are tied. Because the state really, in Nevada, it's not a home rule state. It's what they call a Dillon's rule state. So we have to wait every 2 years for the legislature to convene to fix problems that have been created in the prior session.
I'll tell you, I've been observing that they actually have a summer school program that they're working on. Did you guys hear about that? That they're expecting to put through and have cleared by, or begin it by the end of July. And you guys get to make sure it happens.
Yeah. So they have.
And it just is going to go into effect July of 2023. And you're supposed to be able to just get out there. I read that and I was like, my head was exploding.
Well, right, they're shoving stuff down their throat, and the energy goes here not towards raising core stuff.
Well,
I mean, that's my belief, right? It's all on the fringes. It's all on these small percents of stuff. It's real, it's dangerous, but it's taken away the energy from the core growth of everybody.
Well, I think they're trying to reinvent the wheel. Instead of improving the tread on the wheel that we have, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. And unfortunately, I think it is very distracting. I personally think that kids, if there is summer programs, I don't know that it should be based in the school district. I think kids need.
You may not have a choice on that.
Exactly.
It's lipstick on a
Yeah.
pig.
Their break too.
Yeah.
They need to, power down a little bit.
There's one thing about this that we haven't talked about, restorative.
Hold on one second. I want to hear what you have to say, and then you can ask your question.
There's so much to talk about, and,
Yes, there
and I
is.
know there's a lot of narratives, but I want you to know, and I know my colleagues will agree with me, that our school district truly, there's some amazing things that are going on, and we visit our schools, we visit our teachers, our students. Our graduation rates are on the rise, but in addition to that, we've seen our teachers recognized at national levels. Our district truly is a district on the rise. Are there problems that need to be addressed and fixed? Absolutely. But, one reason I wanted to, we talked about why we wanted to serve, and I saw these national narratives, and they don't have, some in our community would like to think that somehow we have this dysfunction, a school board, but we work extremely well together, and we're getting a lot of work done. I think personally that we've hired one of the best superintendents in the nation.
Why?
Because
Why do you think that?
She thinks outside the box. She does think outside of the box.
Well, she hasn't expressed that very clearly, in my view. I watched the entire presentation she did, and I'll be honest with you, I was like, well, I can't get that hour back. She didn't say anything. She didn't tell anything from an academic standpoint, from the standpoint of the students are hurting each other. They're bullying each other. They're, that's true. You've expressed it. And I can't say that I would expect her or you to be able to solve that overnight.
No.
But I would expect that we would have something that would accomplish it.
And I don't like to.
Go ahead.
I don't like to. I guess in some ways it's could be counterproductive to put this out there, but there is a strategic plan that a lot of work, a lot of investigation has gone into. So for her to come out, and before that plan has been finalized, for her to come out with specifics, and then what if when the plan is finalized, and now she has to backstep.
But I think that from the average person's perspective, we lost our me, and I don't have any kids in school. It's not like I'm invested in this personally, but I am invested in it as a community member, and I do care about the kids, and I do care what happens. And I don't think that.
He needed to graduate. He needed his transcripts, his graduation transcripts to get into college. I couldn't get him for 6 months till after school, right? And he was going to a Nevada school. He's going to UNLV. I couldn't get him because the contract people weren't getting to it. And so it was an in-state school. They took his grade reports and stuff.
In Washoe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I called the State Department of Education. I called the Gov and said, WTF. But anyway, is that still going on? That would it's almost kept my son out of school.
Well, that's interesting. that's the first I've heard something like that.
I will say, Janice, to answer your question directly, first of all, we're looking at a superintendent who is not looking to move on. Okay. This is the peak of her career. So what we've seen in the past is a lot of superintendents come through our district, right? They're here 2 or 3 years.
Building
and they
resumes.
move on. She's made some very bold decisions. We've had what we call TOSAs, temporary teachers on assignments, that were based at the school district headquarters. Recognizing that we have this teacher shortage, she put those teachers back in the classroom. It was a very controversial internal decision that she made. She's talked a lot about bringing on testing that actually measures the performance of our students. We don't really have that now. We have testing, which is simply a snapshot in time. She's focused on prior to her arrival, it would take you 3 months as an employee, as a teacher, for instance, to actually get health benefits. She eliminated that barrier, which is going to help us in recruitment. So the first
Well, maybe
day
it's
teacher,
about delivery. Maybe it's about delivery. Maybe this is
yeah,
the problem. System, it feels that way. But
Yeah.
when you're on the outside and you're just an average person that's just listening,
we did a national search on Lady Dog, and she was, in my view, head over heels over anybody that we had. And my concern was, if we didn't get Dr. Enfield, I didn't have a second choice. Go ahead.
No, and
yeah, you were a part of that choice.
yeah,
Right?
no, I was, and I have to agree with Adam. I mean, she stood out in a lot of ways. We had some great candidates, but I just kind of want to echo what Adam said. I mean, you talk about delivery. I mean, she's out there on social media. I mean, she's out there.
Absolutely,
She
she
is one of her first things she did when she came
Absolutely.
here was meeting with parents and staff. I mean, she had her own town halls throughout the district. And I don't want to take anything away from Krista McNeil, former superintendent, but I mean, since Susan's been here, I mean, you get in the classroom, you can see even with all the negative things that are happening, there's good things that are going on. And our staff.
How do we
the morale.
bridge? How do we bridge the naysayers? Because there's a ton of them out there. Believe me, I heard from them.
We know.
You guys give a hoot.
No, and I think for starters, I mean, I know this is one thing I've done is hey, you know what? My email's on the website, joseph.rodriguez@washoeschools.net. I have said this over and over again. I'm more than happy to have coffee. We're now that things are kind of calming down, but they're also kind of picking up with ledge. So a lot of us are busy with session going on, but we're revisiting having our town halls again. And I think that's a step. I think another step is our communications department. I will say is, I can't recall the word saying our delivery. I know Susan's phenomenal with it. I know we kind of do our parts on our own social media platforms, but as far as the district, I mean, is there room for improvement getting the successes out there? Then yes, I will say
reach out to the community too, right? I think that people like me want to help, right? There's all kinds of people involved in sports and things, and we don't get. You get the schools reaching out to fund their sports stuff,
right?
But you don't get the district reaching out for benefit.
Look, there are naysayers out there. We understand that. This is
the first I've heard.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
Her accessibility.
It is, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and we hear them, but they're not entitled to their own facts. Okay, facts are facts. There aren't alternative facts out there. So if somebody wants to bring a solution, we're happy to listen
okay,
to it.
now I'm going to have to hold on one second. Now I'm going to have to say, I know you want to talk.
No, this fits.
That, and I have to bring it up, the fact that there is a solution that has been presented to the district from Paul White. I believe it's Education Crusade, and he has not heard word back from you at all. Not you personally, but anyone, right? And he has a solution that worked in Southern California, actually from an area that I lived. So I'm curious to know why he has not had either no, he offered to do like a prototype so that you could see, does it work?
Is
Can
this
we?
the same guy that thinks we all belong in prison?
I don't know.
From Paul White stating that here's the solution, other than enforcing the laws that are already on the books. What's the solution? What is that?
You have
Well,
not.
no, let me interject this just for a second, and I'll be brief, as brief as I know I can be.
And then I
You said you're not entitled to your own facts. Okay. One of the tenets of your restorative discipline is the minority students are disproportionately disciplined. Well, that goes back to the facts. Why are they because they create most of the problems. With that being said, the answer in restorative discipline is let's lower the standards. And I can't think of anything that is more cancerous, that's more destructive to somebody with personal accountability to say, you know what, you're not as smart as the rest. We're going to lower the standards. And oh, by the way, I'm glad you think highly of yourself. It doesn't work. But yet that's part of the program. Uh-oh, they're speechless.
Well, no,
What standard are we lowering for them?
Well, number
academics. I'm not sure where you're getting at.
Because they're being disciplined more than the rest of the students. What they're saying is, we'll take a harder look at that. The reason that you were disciplined is because of your race. And now it goes right back to that. I only know what I read. So, and please tell me that's not true.
Well, I am. Am I speechless? Because I cannot believe you just sat there and said that. Stuff again that goes back to what's in statute, and I would love for you to provide me a case where, oh, I'm sorry, you're Latino, you're not going to be disciplined the way a white kid. Something to prove.
maybe has been watered down a little bit to give a little bit more leeway. But again, this was handed down by the legislature. And I did watch a video that Mr. White sent, and working in a classroom with kids. And it certainly looked a lot like restorative discipline to me. It was basically, talk to the kids, encourage the kids.
Well, yeah, but there was more to it than that. There was definitely more to it than that. Because of the fact that the kids did have to agree. They had to agree to be off drugs. They had to agree to a lot of things, which you guys probably can't do. Based on what I'm hearing from you, is that the legislature is probably going to not allow much of what he's suggesting. So personally, my opinion is that it needs to be done, and somebody needs to actually go outside of the school system, do it, and then present it and say, hey, here, this will work. Look, I just proved it to you. Because I think that both sides want the same thing. You both want the kids to be well. You want them to learn. You want them to have opportunity. We all want to do the same, right? I mean, that is
we
what
spend
this is.
all this time though on the small percent stuff, right? We just spent an hour talking about all these fringe small issues, I think, where 95% of the kids are just going to school, right?
Yeah.
We need to set higher achievement standards, right? And raise the level. I don't obviously got to deal with problem folks, but to me, it's lifting the body of them up above, whether we have to go to New Jersey or Utah to compare our schools, right? Get out of state where we compare somebody out of state. It's not your fault, but we've been 50th since 1996, and maybe before that,
50th,
when I moved
50th in what though?
So, according to the Reno Gazette Journal, everything, right? Because again, I know there's politics in schools. When they go to get money, they're the worst, right? And when they're like going for achievement, they're 45th. So I know how that works. But RGJ and Reno's always had them as last. in everything local.
State-wise, yes, there's a lot of issues, and per pupil funding is one of them, which is something that I was glad to hear Governor Lombardo make bold statements about wanting to increase that. I'm on board, and I know like Washoe County, I'll say we do stand out amongst the rest of our counties. Sorry, everyone else. Sorry, not sorry, but and I would challenge you guys. I mean, go into our classrooms to see that there is magic happening.
Okay, one of the things that he says is that you can't go into the classrooms. Can you? Could I walk in the classroom?
That's so awesome you said that, because I had a naysayer who was a constituent, which I like to say neighbors. So they're saying like parents can't get in, and I did an unannounced visit. It was last minute. I was like, hey, I'm coming by just FYI to this school. And it's so funny because as I was walking in, a pair of volunteers walking in right behind me. How funny is that? So are parents allowed in the schools? Yes. Short answer, yes.
And making surprise visits to schools. I make a surprise visit to the school my daughters attend almost every day. Okay. Now, I'm not going to walk into a school and then walk into a classroom without checking in the office. That's ridiculous.
Of course.
Okay, let's be realistic. No. But I'm going to tell you something else.
Don't be angry.
We hear the 50th ranking, and that I'm not attacking you by
it's all
by
good.
Means,
you
but
can attack
these no, I don't want to, because that's not my style. But one of the lowest, these low rankings typically align with funding. That's what they align with. And even if we can be successful and increase our funding, this is the education session. There are going to be some phenomenal things that are going to come out of this at the end of June. It's only going to really it's going to give us a huge bump, but will only be sort of midway, okay, in terms of funding and support. With respect to academic performance, we have some amazing kids. I'm looking at one right now. She got a full ride to a Duke scholarship from Hug High School. Her name is Elizabeth Rocha. Hug High School, full scholarship from Duke University. We met a student the other day, had a full scholarship to Stanford University. We got some amazing students. And, it's important that we get these things out, because all we hear
then
from these
let's have a town hall.
Yeah, no, let's get it out there. I agree. Business
and we board meetings, okay?
So to me, it's all big picture, right? All this stuff's peripheral. It's the quality in the math classes, the reading classes, the social studies, whatever.
So are you guys willing to do a town hall?
Well, we are doing a town hall at Sepulveda in May.
I think what Janice is getting at is she wants to do one not in a school setting, so that it's more representative of a community and not just in an individual school.
Right.
And I myself would be all for that.
And it could be in your district. I'm not objecting to in the district. That makes sense to me. I just would like to see it that way. And I would love to help to moderate that for you so that we can have both sides of the fence feeling like there's some representation. You guys have your say, they have theirs, and everybody talks, right? We just have conversation. And I'm sorry, but we have to go. But can I get agreement?
It's something I'm definitely open to.
Okay.
I would definitely say
Just
there needs to be
respect. There has to be respect.
Absolutely.
People
All right.
are the ones you know.
Yeah. Okay. We'll be back after the news.
If you don't look at what you're doing, you're gonna end up dead.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll